When people imagine ancient Rome, they often picture mighty legions marching in perfect formation, roads stretching across continents, grand emperors giving speeches, and gladiators battling in the Colosseum. The Roman Empire is remembered for its military might, architectural marvels, and sweeping conquests. But behind all the glory, victories, and expansion, there was a hidden force, a secret weapon that turned Rome from a regional power into a vast empire that ruled much of the known world. And no, it was not just the Roman sword or the discipline of its legions. The real secret weapon of Rome was far more powerful, subtle, and enduring. Let us uncover the 5 key aspects of this secret weapon. The force that allowed Rome not just to conquer, but to control, assimilate, and hold together an empire for centuries. You might discover that Rome's real strength was not found on the battlefield alone. Roman engineering and infrastructure. Rome's military campaigns would have been impossible without the engineering marvels that supported them. Roads, aqueducts, bridges, and fortifications were not just impressive constructions, they were tools of power and control. Roman engineers built over 50,000 miles of roads across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. These roads allowed troops, supplies, and information to move quickly, giving Rome a critical advantage over enemies who struggled with poor infrastructure. But Roman roads were not built only for armies. They opened up trade routes, connected distant provinces, and allowed cultures to mix. They became the veins and arteries of the empire, pumping life into every corner Rome touched. Wherever Roman roads went, Roman influence followed. Cities sprang up along these roads, markets thrived, and Roman law spread. The aqueducts, carrying water over vast distances, transformed cities by providing fresh water for public baths, fountains, and homes. Roman engineering made life in Roman cities healthier and more vibrant, earning the loyalty of the people living there. Here is something remarkable. Rome conquered territories with its legions, but it held them with its roads and aqueducts. While swords won battles, stones and mortar won empires. Roman law and citizenship. Conquest alone cannot hold an empire together. The Romans understood this better than most. One of their most powerful tools was their legal system. A system based on written laws, clear rights, and structured governance. Roman law provided a sense of fairness and order that other ancient societies lacked. It protected property, defined contracts, and regulated relationships between citizens and the state. But the genius of Roman law went further. The Romans extended citizenship rights to conquered peoples over time. This policy was revolutionary. Instead of treating conquered populations as perpetual outsiders, Rome offered them a stake in the empire. Being a Roman citizen meant access to protection under Roman law, the ability to trade freely, and even the right to participate in government. In time, citizenship became a powerful incentive. People across the empire sought Roman citizenship, adopting Roman customs, language, and even military service in return. By doing so, Rome transformed former enemies into loyal subjects and soldiers. And here is a thought to ponder. Power does not always come from force, sometimes it comes from giving people a reason to be loyal. Rome mastered the art of turning outsiders into insiders, not just through conquest, but through law and citizenship. The adaptability of the Roman military. Yes, Roman legions were disciplined, well-trained, and superbly organized. But their real advantage lay in adaptability. Rome did not rely on one single tactic or rigid battle plan. Instead, it learned from enemies, adapted their strengths, and turned them into Roman tools of war. When fighting the Samnites, Rome learned the value of flexible battle formations. Against the Carthaginians, they studied Hannibal's tactics, eventually outmaneuvering him with superior strategy. Facing Eastern armies, Rome incorporated cavalry tactics. Even barbarian tribes influenced Roman military practice, leading to new types of units and fighting styles. Roman legions were not just soldiers, they were builders, engineers, and administrators. After battles, soldiers would construct forts, roads, and supply lines, securing territory and making future conquests easier. The Roman army functioned as a tool of both war and peace, able to destroy enemies and build civilizations. Think about this. Most empires fall when they refuse to adapt. Rome thrived because it remained flexible, constantly learning, adjusting, and improving. Its military was not just strong, it was smart. And in a world of constant change, intelligence on the battlefield was Rome's real weapon. Cultural assimilation and Romanization. Conquering lands is one thing. Making people accept your rule is another. Rome mastered the art of cultural assimilation. Rather than erasing local cultures, Rome often embraced parts of them, blending them with Roman customs in a process known as Romanization. Conquered people were encouraged to adopt Roman dress, language, architecture, and laws. Local leaders who cooperated with Rome were rewarded with power and prestige. In many cases, Roman culture became a mark of status. Cities were built in Roman style, complete with forums, amphitheaters, and baths. Latin became the language of law, business, and administration, spreading Roman influence even further. Yet, Rome allowed a surprising degree of religious freedom. Local gods were often incorporated into Roman beliefs, and temples were built alongside Roman shrines. This policy of cultural respect made Roman rule more acceptable and prevented constant rebellion. Here is a fascinating reality. Rome did not rule by crushing identities but by blending them. This cultural flexibility allowed the empire to feel both foreign and familiar to its subjects. People became Roman not by force alone but by choice, drawn into a shared identity that crossed borders and languages. An often overlooked secret of Rome's dominance was its control over information and its mastery of propaganda. The Romans understood that power was not just about armies and laws, but also about shaping perception. Roman emperors used coins, statues, monuments, and public ceremonies to send powerful messages of strength, unity, and divine favor. Victories were celebrated with grand parades, and emperors were depicted as godlike figures, protectors of peace and prosperity. These symbols reached every corner of the empire, reminding people who held power and why. Rome also spread its values through education, literature, and law. Roman historians wrote accounts of Rome's greatness, military triumphs, and the supposed superiority of Roman civilization. These stories became accepted truths, taught in schools and believed by generations. And perhaps most effectively, Rome controlled the narrative of who was friend and who was foe. Enemies were labeled as barbarians, wild, uncivilized, and dangerous, even when they had complex societies of their own. This portrayal justified Rome's conquests and secured the loyalty of Roman citizens. Here is a truth that still holds today. Controlling the story can be as powerful as controlling the sword. Rome understood that people fight harder and obey longer when they believe in the image of power. The real secret behind Rome's unstoppable rise: Rome did not just conquer land, it built roads that connected worlds. It did not just rule with fear, it offered citizenship and shared identity. It did not stick to old tactics, it learned and evolved with every battle. It did not erase cultures, it blended them into something stronger. And it did not leave its image to chance, it shaped its own story, becoming a symbol of power that lasted long after its armies were gone. So, the next time you hear about the Roman Empire's might, remember this: the real secret weapon of Rome was not hidden in a weapon at all. It was hidden in systems, ideas, and strategies that outlasted emperors and legions alike. If you found this deeper look at Rome's true power fascinating, make sure to watch our next video on what if Napoleon had won the Battle of Waterloo. You might be surprised how many of their ideas still shape our lives today. See you there.